All right. So, welcome back. I just wanted to go in here real quick. It's late. I got my pajamas on. I'm actually ready to go to sleep, but I wanted to come out here, talk to you guys real quick, and just kind of start with where I left off the last time I was on, which is high property prices on investments and how does that impact you? Okay, so we're going to start with so pretty much in this we're going to be looking at the pros and cons, and we're going to analyze um, and take a look and discuss risk assessment and management in real estate. So let's start with the advantage of investing in high priced markets. So I personally am one of our markets is a high price market, which is Nashville, Tennessee. It's gotten very expensive over the last few years, where properties are just skyrocketing. So I wanted to just kind of talk about that. Like we actually have very practical information about it. We already know we've dealt with this on so many different ways, and I just wanted to get on here real quick, and I mean real quick because your girl's tired and this is already past my bedtime. This is 11. 11 is at my peak for me, but I definitely wanted to get on here because I've had a long day, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump right in to pros and cons, the pros of investing in high price markets. Okay, so I wanted to start with the advantages of investing in the high price markets. Despite the challenges, there are several benefits to this. The appreciation potential of the properties in high demand areas is often appreciated so much faster. So if you get a property and you're already at the peak, you're already buying at the high point, which is not my favorite place to buy. My favorite place to buy is somewhere down at the bottom. If I do go a little bit higher, it's because I know that it's going to make some money. Um, so it often in high demand, it's going to so in we'll use Nashville. Nashville is going to be my place I'm going to use mainly because this is the place that I live, and it's a high area. Okay, the prices in the area are are not cheap to get into real estate in the Nashville area. So I'm going to be using this to just kind of explain to you how appreciation values are going to go. So the appreciation in a place like Nashville or a place where it's extremely expensive, um, the nice thing is that it's in demand. There's a lot of people typically who are living there who want to buy in that area. It's going to have a strong rental demand. It's going to have desirable location. It's going to have quality tenants. And the reason why it's going to have quality tenants is because the higher property value is often going to attract more reliable people who are more financially stable. Okay, you're going to have an increase in rental income. So higher prices usually are going to correlate with higher rental rates, which is going to, of course, generate more cash flow, which is always a plus because if you're going to be in those high value areas, you definitely want to make sure that you're going to have the money that's going to come with it with the cash flow. Okay, but with buying in high property areas where the prices are a little bit higher, there are also cons. So there are great for the pros, but you also have to always look at what are the cons. So the cons are going to be higher initial investment. So when you go into that property, when you go and buy that property, it's going to cost more. It's going to cost more to play. If you don't have the funds to play, you're probably going to need to start somewhere in a sub market, somewhere that's going to be a little bit cheaper. But the cost to enter into that market is always going to be higher. You're going to have to come with a lot more money. Okay, so even when you're talking about using hard money, you still have to have money in the bank. I don't care if you found a place where you can get a loan, a hard money loan, where they would cover 100% of the rehab and 100% of the purchase price. You still have to have the money for your draws. Okay, that's going to be not your draws, but your draws for your money. Okay, so that's going to be the thing that you're going to have to keep in mind. If you're buying in a high valued area where the prices to get in are going to be higher, that means that where you normally you're going to see a property that might cost 300,000. Well, guess what? A $300,000 house in some place like I'm gonna use Nashville because that's my high price market area, and a place like Nashville isn't going to be 300,000. That 300,000 is going to be a property that's not going to be the best looking property. It's going to definitely need some rehab. It's going to definitely need some work, because if you're paying 300,000, more than likely you're going to be you're hoping to sell it for probably what, 500,000 after you rehab it, depending on the cost of rehab. So you want to keep that in mind. Even with hard money loans that's covering 100% of the financing and 100%, and yes, there are places out there that can do that, but you have to keep in mind that you're still going to have to start the rehab. Let me say it again. You're still going to have to start the rehab. Okay, so even though you have the money and you're like, well, I got this hard money loan or I got this private money loan, you still have to come in you're still going to have to come in with some kind of money. All right, so you have your market. You're going to have lower yields, so higher purchase price can result in lower rental yields compared to lower price markets. Sometimes in the lower price markets, you're going to have to worry about in the lower price markets, you're going to have to make sure that you know that it's going to take a little more time. Okay. But usually the property is a little bit cheaper. However, even though the property is a little bit cheaper, you usually can get good rental rates if you're in the right area. If you're worried about cash flow, again, you need to know what you are looking for. All right. So also, you're going to have to increase competition. So in a higher price market, you're going to have more competition. Period, point blank. There's going to be more people in. Now, the thing is that you got to keep in mind is, although there's going to be more people in, there's also going to be more money to be made. All right, so just keep that in mind when we're talking about the doing certain strategies. You just want to keep that in mind. So when you're investing in a high price market, you just want to make sure that you do careful risk assessment and management, because what you don't want to do is buy too high and then you already have negative equity when you go into a property. Okay, you're trying to make money, not lose money, and you need to keep that at the forefront of your mind. It's not, I'm gonna wait and when the market's going to turn. Yeah, the market will turn, but the market can always turn down as well and correct itself. So you bought this property at a peak point, and then something happens and now it's not worth the same amount. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to have a clear exit strategy. Know how you're going to exit. Have multiple exit strategies before you even get into the property. You don't want to get into the property and then not even know how you're going to even get out of it. You got into this property and now you're sitting there like, oh, it costs too much. I didn't get enough money. It could be a multitude of different things. Just have several exit strategies. If you're going to go, we got a property right now that we're working on, and what we've done is we already know that if it didn't go in student housing, we can midterm rental. If it doesn't do this, it's going to do that. So I already have that already in plan. Okay. All right. Financial planning. You want to ensure that you have adequate capital reserves, and that's what I was talking about. Is having, because you're going to have draws are going to come out. Okay, you need to be able to start your rehab. They don't cover the start of the rehab. They're not going to give you the bulk of the money all up front. So you need to already go ahead and have you're going to need about 30,000, 40,000, depending on how much they're going to need you to have. You're going to have to be able to cover that. You're going to have to be able to cover the loan. So just make sure that you know what your exit strategy is, know how much money you're going to need, and do thorough research. Okay, do conduct some comprehensive market analysts to understand, like, what are your potential risks. If you already know what your potential risks are, you already know how to win from them. Okay, every deal should be a win. Every deal should be a win. Whether it's, you just need to know where are you going to be winning at. Okay, are you going to be getting your cash flow? Are you looking for the equity? What are you looking to own and control properties and end up with the property as your own? Are you going to fix and flip? But you definitely need to know what your exit strategy is and how much it's going to cost to play. All right, you know what? I just want to see, did I have more in here on my notes? Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of like, really, there's always going to be pros and cons to investing in high price markets. If you're in a high price market and that's where you want to play in the high price market, but also have a sub market that is a little bit less money that you can jump into, get into, and work in if that's where you're at. Okay, it costs a lot less for me to work in a submarket of Nashville than it does to buy properties in the heart of Nashville. Yes, a lot of people want to be in that area, but that's the thing. A lot of people want to be in that area, and the prices are probably going to be at the peak. Okay, and if you can't afford it to start with, that's okay. All right, I just wanted to come to you guys one last time for the day. I've been busy, been at church, been doing a whole lot of things all day long, but just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your real estate journey and where are you trying to go. Is knowing your exit strategy, knowing what strategy you even want to go in. So if you're a person that doesn't exactly know where they're trying to go and what kind of um, real estate that they're trying to get into, think about what kind of real estate you're trying to get into, and then connect with us, message us, and we can definitely sit down, talk to you, and figure out what are some of the strategies that you might want to do. Check out YouTube. Like, guys, if you guys have any kind of questions, like, let us know. Post it down at the bottom, and I would love to go over that. But in the meantime, just check us out, check out our site, and I'll talk to you soon.